Yo.
Welcome in. It is, well, it ain't the Goose and the Griz podcast. I guess it's their podcast, but it's been hijacked. We got Coach Prime over there. Coach Prime, how you doing, sir?
Hey.
Nice, very nice. Sticking right to character there, I see. And it is I, Uncle Unicorn, in the flesh. I didn't send one of my minions like I did before with that moron in the garage. It is I, Uncle Unicorn, here ready to go over some fantasy with you. And we also have a guest. We thought we were going to have Alex for Game of the Week, but Coach Prime, I hear that we have a superhero.
We got a superhero, man. We gotta bring the one and only man, Batman.
Go. I'm here to kick some ass.
Welcome in, Batman. I see Robin has not joined you, but that's all right. And I welcome you to the podcast. You had a big win this past weekend. Well, not you, Alex did. So how does Batman think that Alex feels about that win?
Oh, so good. The waddle is waddling. He's back. And he's ready to kick some ass too. Tyreek, it's all the waddle show for the second half of the season. He's ready to get open. The cheetah effect. That cheetah effect. Hey, did you guys see that last touchdown though at the end of the Miami game? Cheetah literally pulled like 3 defenders with him, and Waddle just stood there wide open like 20 yards. Cheetah effect.
That's great. I mean, it stuck out so much in your mind. You went from Batman to Alex in 0.2 seconds. So that was good. You went right to the Dolphins fan. But yeah, so Alex pulls off the win versus the number 1 team in the league, at least up to this point. I think still is technically number 1 seed. Carlos 141 and 3/4 to 131. Your highest scores keeping in with mostly Miami here, but you got Gus Edwards 35 points, Waddle with 26, Tua with 25. You're all dolphined up, and you got one of the best teams in the NFL, at least on the AFC side, the fastest team. Your team is on a winning record right now. So how are you feeling overall?
I mean, it feels good. I mean, normally I don't like to load up on one team, but when they're ahead by 10 touchdowns more than the next highest scoring team, you got to have Dolphins on your team. I mean, it's the number 1 offense, and it's not even close. So you can't feel bad about having as many players as you can on that one team.
Yeah, it works out. Sometimes it never goes well when I try to, take my Buccaneers in a year. That's when I end up in this place. But, when you have the fastest team in football, it tends to work out in your favor. Etienne and Tyreek get 27 each. J. Herb got him 26. He didn't have a bad outing, just not enough there. So, Coach Prime, what did you think about Carlos' shortcomings this week versus not having to lose too much so far this year?
I mean, Carlos been hot. Carlos been hot, man. He be 6-2, best team in the league, most points. You know what? We have Batman coming, kick his ass.
Yeah, Batman from either Oregon or USC, the way that this game went, for sure.
Yep.
All right, so you have another big game coming up. It would have been my pick for pre-game of the week if we could, but we're going to preview with you here now. You and Hector, you both got matching records. You're favored by 4.6, I think, last I checked. I think Hector added in somebody else, so I think he's now favored by like 11. But you got Tua, Waddle, and Mostert versus his Henry, Thielen, and Lamb. How confident you feeling this week?
We'll see. I really like Adam Thielen. He's done a lot for that young rookie's confidence. So he hasn't looked that good. Thielen's just open. He's open all day. He's like what Zay was supposed to be for the Jags this year.
Yeah,
he's just,
sure.
I mean, it's an emergence of the old wide receivers. I think Tyreek's old. He's scoring like crazy. Thielen, he's kind of up there in age too. Devontae was looking good until Josh McDaniels decided not to use him anymore. But no, I mean, it just depends for me. I think the make or break is going to be whether or not Gus Edwards truly is going to be the number 1 back for Baltimore. And if DJ can kind of at least getting me subpar double-digit points with that backup in there. But I like my matchups a little better than Hector's this week, even though he's slated to score more than me. I don't think he will.
Oh, so can we get a guarantee? Can we get a Batman guarantee?
Ooh, a guarantee.
No,
Any given Sunday, that Kansas City defense is rough. So we'll see.
that's a no.
Yeah.
Not no game.
So he said, just for the record, I'd like to put out there that he said that Hector will not score more than him, but he would not guarantee that he would win. So there might be a tie here, folks.
But he did not guarantee that he was going to lose either.
No, I think it'll be a closer match than what they're predicting. But I don't think it's going to be a blowout on Hector's side. I think it should be a good matchup.
Well, if there's one thing that I absolutely love doing, it's talking football with Alex, especially when we can get into the nitty gritty every now and then. And I'd like to look at some of the games that and some of the performances that Coach Prime over there and I were looking at this past weekend. Did you happen to see any of that Bengals and 49ers clash?
Oh yeah. Brock Purdy. They're starting to get his number.
I've heard baby music the whole time, and I was like, you know what? It just goes with this podcast somehow. We got baby music in the background of Coach Prime, Batman, and Uncle Unicorn.
I believe.
So
Bengals,
49ers. Do you think that Brock Purdy's going to bounce back? You think this team is going to rebound to be like they were? Were they kind of like how they were in the first 5 games? I mean, they just added Chase Young. It feels like they still have room to improve. I'm thinking that they probably will, but you never know. Do you think they're going to rebound to be the top seed this year?
We'll see. I don't think their defense was the problem, though. I think getting Chase Young for a third is just a gimme. You take good players when they come available to you, when they come in cheap. You just have to. Yep. But I think what the Niners are going to have to do is get Brock Purdy to pull away from how Brock Purdy was playing for the first half of the season, because they've lost 3 in a row. And one of the biggest reasons for that is that they're just running basic zone coverage. They're blocking the middle of the field. Brock loves to throw it in between the seams, or at least along the seams and all that stuff. They're just taking it away. He could have had way more interceptions against the Bengals than what he did. He only had the 2, but he had plenty that were almost picked off by those middle linebackers. They're just sitting there, and so they're when Ayuk is coming across, and you got deep. I mean, Debo should be there, coming up soon too. But I don't think it's going to matter all that much. If they're just sitting there taking away the middle of the field, that's not what Brock likes to do. He's good at sitting in the pocket, throwing it down, and that's all the Bengals have been doing. That's what the Browns were doing. I think if he doesn't adjust, if he doesn't start feeling comfortable throwing those out routes and all that stuff, it's going to be a long year for the 49ers. Brock Purdy, he needs to build up of that confidence, throw it on the outside.
I agree with what you're saying, and I see a lot of what you're saying too. But I think also part of what has allowed that to happen is that they haven't been able to stretch the field very well recently. So Debo's been out. You got Christian McCaffrey, who he's still getting his touchdowns, but let's not pretend that his numbers haven't been as spectacular as they were earlier. He's not busting off long runs, breaking open the defense. Ayuk isn't getting as many deep completed targets. So you don't stretch that defense, and it allows them to get comfortable, and that's how you lose to 3 teams you probably shouldn't have lost to. It feels like they will rebound, but it does feel like they're a lot more dependent on that talent this year than they have in years past. They've overcome before with having Debo out regularly. This year, not so much.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I mean, in my opinion, there's only so much you can ask from Mr. Irrelevant. I think he's done an exceptional job, and he's now just starting to face, teams are, like Jordan likes to say, teams like to catch on, and they're catching on. The man is under pressure, and if he doesn't have everything in the perfect system, he doesn't perform. But I think this is just a part of the ups and downs that come, in a season, part of the learning curve, and they got the talent. They got a Super Bowl defense. So, and all Kyle Shanahan asked from a quarterback in that system is just to manage the game. So, if he can just cut down on those turnovers, stop throwing that ball in the middle where he's not supposed to, I think they'll be just fine.
You just got to get the confidence to throw an out route at least once. If you look at even if this highlight reel kind of proved it to me after seeing it again, it kind of solidified it. He had every single one of his completed passes, even his touchdowns, either on the seams or in between the seams. He's got to build his confidence up.
Yeah, and you just got to remember too. He is just like Goose said. He's Mr. Irrelevant, and everybody says, "So what?"
True.
Tom Brady had such a great career and everything. He was in the 6th round. He's only 1 round later, but it does matter. And yeah, players can become great. Not saying that doesn't happen and that Brock Purdy can be better, but it wasn't defined as scouts who do this for a living as someone that is going to break the mold physically. So he's going to have to win with his mind. He's going to have to learn. He's not going to be, a top 5 quarterback probably in a year. I mean, could he at some point? Sure. Rarities happen like Brady, but he's going to have to learn how to use his mind if he's going to overcome defenses coming at him. And this is going to be a big year for him next year too, because the more tape they have on you, the more ways they find to stop you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's what's been going on.
Well, speaking of some young quarterbacks, how about our rookie clash that Goose was looking at last week? Panthers get their first win, 15-13 over the Texans. What'd you think about this one here, Batman?
Yep, Young isn't looking so young anymore. He's getting his big boy britches on. Oh man, he's a little.
I don't know. He still kind of looks like a toddler that stole something.
Yeah,
not as fast.
His growth plates have been cracked through his career. Or obviously, or something. That boy is tiny. I got to see him personally when I saw the Finns play him. And he's a lot smaller than you would think, even in person. That boy is tiny, but no, he I think he's got a pretty strong arm. I think he's just on a really crappy team. We're not going to put it that way. Miles Sanders, you would think that you could tell the coach probably brought him in to try to get a bell cow back to try to help him out, and he hasn't been able to help him out at all. Sanders looked terrible in comparison to Hubbard. It was even showed this week too. I mean, they had Hubbard with the start, but Stroud. I mean, in my opinion, I want to ask you guys' opinion. Was Carolina wrong? And who they picked? Yeah. I know they lost this game.
Did they draft the wrong quarterback?
Did they draft the wrong quarterback?
I think
yes, they did.
I think the jury's still out there. I think the quick answer, like Jordan saying, would be yeah. If you just put them side by side right now, mid-season comparison, CJ Stroud's going to win this one by a mile. But I think right now it's unfair to both of them, because this was one of my focus games, and then, like Alex alluded to, Bryce Young is not bad. Bryce Young is not bad. He showed it in this game. This game was kind of boring because, to be honest with you, both these teams came out ready out of the bye week. The defenses, they kind of knew what they want to do against these young quarterbacks. They kept them contained. They put a lot of pressure on them. It looked like Bryce Young was able to evade a couple more rushes than CJ Stroud in this game. It was very controlled, but in the end, Bryce Young looked a little more sharp. He looked like he knew where he wanted to go with the ball more. I know they did transfer play calling duties to a different person, and so I think that may be part of it. So Frank Wright is not trying to force, his system. We have somebody that's kind of, more willing to work with Bryce Young's strengths and weaknesses. So I think they're both work in progress, in my opinion. CJ Stroud has looked better so far, but in the end, I don't know. It's a question mark for both of them.
I don't know. When I look at it, I think that I honestly didn't think that they made the right pick very early on, and I mean before even the season started, because when you draft, to me, and this is different depending on different teams' philosophies, but you look at the teams that win the Super Bowl. If that is your goal, you need a quarterback that is going to be able to set you apart, that can overcome, that has a high ceiling. Bryce Young is not a high ceiling. He might be a low floor or a high floor, so that he's not going to give you many bad games once he gets up with it, maybe. But he's not going to be Drew Brees. I didn't see that in his game, and everybody kind of said, well, he could be at his peak. And Drew Brees was different, and he also wasn't that undersized. I think that when you draft a quarterback in the NFL, you should be going for ceiling. And I think C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson just had higher ceilings. You don't want the running QB, fine. C.J. Stroud had all the tools, and he's showing it now. So to me, I think that this was a bad call by them because they weren't as close as they thought. They had a good defense, a good run game last year. They thought, if we just protect the football and get a smart QB, then we have a Super Bowl team. That was a bad miscalculation.
Yeah, I can see it. I'll give you one thing though. Both teams suck at the wide receiver position. They literally have no help for these young quarterbacks. I mean, when Adam Thielen is your leading wide receiver, you got a problem. Same thing on the Texans. When Nico is coming around, right? But Nico is not that guy. He's no Steph Diggs, AJ Brown. So he's not gonna help take CJ Stroud's games to that next level. It's just not gonna happen. So right now there's a huge lack of talent, like Alex mentioned, Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders. I mean, these guys they're not game-changing running backs, so they're not helping to the situation either.
I like the direction the Texans are going, but I feel like if they would have got JSN and stayed put at 12 instead of trading up, Will Anderson has been good. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But was it worth kind of losing not gaining a step on offense and helping your rookie quarterback with, his college wide receiver? I thought that was a match made in heaven right there.
Oh, that's true. That would have been nice.
Yeah. I forgot about the Bears owning that pick.
Yeah, big draft pre-draft trade for sure. But a couple of players that we were looking at here, Kirk Cousins. This one is kind of painful, obviously. He was 23 of 31 before the injury, 274 yards, 2 touchdowns, and more importantly, the stat that matters is 1 out of 2 intact Achilles. So, what's your thoughts here? Do you think he comes back with the Vikings next year, or do you think he's going to be somewhere else, or do you think he might just say, I'm going to hang it up?
I don't think he's going to hang it up. Kirk Cousins is a competitor through and through. I'm sure everybody here watched quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
Did that look like a dude who's going to want to hang it up from an injury?
No.
No, that boy, he's a player. He's going to want to come back and prove no. Especially with the way the Vikings season has gone after such a rock star season they had the year before. He's not going to want to end like that. Especially when you got young players like Addison and Justin Jefferson. I was like, if you were a quarterback, are you going to retire when you've got those players on your team? Hell no. I want to come in and just chuck the ball up. They make me look good as an old man. I personally
think he's coming back to Minnesota. Is that what you're thinking?
Oh yeah. If they would have him, I think he's going to go back to Minnesota. Why wouldn't you? The talent.
Oh no, I'm not saying from his standpoint. I'm saying, do you think that he ends up being the Minnesota quarterback next year? Just full stop.
I think so. Let's say they even draft, a young rookie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe Kevin O'Connell
want to start right away.
They're not going to want him to start right away, and who better to learn behind than Kirk Cousins?
I mean, I can see your point. I don't think he's coming back to Minnesota. I think he's had a hell of a run. I think there's a lot of teams out there willing to pay top dollar, way more than Minnesota, like Atlanta or something like that. Atlanta has a lot of money for his services. I'm surprised they didn't trade for him, but the man, he's definitely coming back. He's definitely a competitor. But what team he's coming back to? I don't know. That's a question mark.
I mean, I could see Atlanta wanting to dump some money into him, but I really would be surprised if Minnesota wants to move. I think he gives Minnesota their best chance to win. And I think they got such a you got young talent that are all in their rookie contracts. You don't want to waste that. You need a veteran quarterback to do that. They can't start over now. Not with what they got going on. I think their window's closing.
Unless they somehow tank enough and they end up getting maybe Caleb Williams, that might be worth a 1-year lull if you could get a top quarterback potential there.
I don't know. They're 4-3 right now, aren't they? Like second or
They are, but I don't think they would be number 1 pick. I mean, they took steps to get Josh Dobbs. They're not going to get action, but I'm saying, like, if you were able to get, because I mean, Kirk Cousins is good for them, and he's a very underrated quarterback, but he has his shortcomings too. I mean, if they were able to get a more, again, a higher ceiling talented quarterback, do they take maybe if somebody slips or they trade up in the draft, would that be worth it maybe than bringing in Kirk back?
Or Drake May or something like that?
Yeah. Good, but they're going to go number 1, 2 in the draft most likely. And there's probably going to be trades this year because the teams that get the top picks might not use them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of trade downs.
Well, we spoke about Bryce Young already, but any other thoughts about, just kind of the state of rookie quarterbacks this year? We kind of got an incomplete from Anthony Richardson. CJ Stroud has been looking good, had a hiccup. Bryce Young finally has started to look a little better. But not much else in regards to. Oh wait, there's one other guy. Didn't he like to put mayonnaise in his coffee and eat bananas with the peel? Will Levis. How about what he did? And he's coming up, got his first real true start this Thursday. So that should be interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean, you got DeAndre Hopkins. Don't be an idiot. Throw him the ball. How you double the veteran quarterback's touchdown throws in one game in week 8? Yeah, just throw it up to your big guy. I mean, it's not that hard. It's not that complicated. DeAndre Hopkins been open for 7 weeks. Levis is like, I can do that.
I think he's hurt though.
Tanny.
I think
Danny's hurt.
No, I think DeAndre Hopkins is hurt this week.
Is he?
Yeah, he hasn't practiced. He hasn't practiced all week.
Oh,
yeah. Well, just ran him all over the field.
Your boy right here. Is the guy we're talking about?
That's so gross. That's so gross.
That's how Jordan likes him, by the way.
That is extra right too. Look at
I would rather take that banana and shove it up my ass than to eat it like that or put mayonnaise in my coffee.
That man's gonna be shitting for a whole week.
Oh my god.
No, forget that. The mayonnaise in the coffee. I mean, no wonder he ain't with his girl anymore. It probably took one trip to the bathroom for her to be like, no way.
I think it's this one. This is the one Jordan likes.
Yeah, it is. There it is.
You're sick.
Oh. Dude, that's a sin.
See, now this is what we got to do at the draft this coming year. Whoever's in last place, that's the concoction they got to suck down.
Oh,
disgusting!
I played triple to not do that.
Will Levis trophy right there.
Oh man, I better get on it.
That's a punishment worth seeing.
That's what's waiting for me. Oh Lord.
Who knows? They might like it.
No.
No fucking way. Well, Alex, it's been fun. I'm sorry, Alex, Batman. I mean, we gave away your identity. I don't know if anybody would have been able to tell otherwise, but good job this week. Appreciate you being on the show, and keep it up, man. But I'd wish you luck, but not too much luck, because you're only a game behind me in the standings. So,
hey, I just gotta wait.
Moderately good luck.
JJ to get back. When JJ comes back, that's a pretty solid score.
JJ,
he might be out up to 6 weeks, so you never know.
Hey, with the emergency Gus Edwards, I might have finally found a way to fix my running back spot. That's what's been cursing me all year long. But Gus Edwards and the leading touchdown fiend and monster could be coming over the hump here at the end of the season.
Well, if I know you're going to be making a play at the end. You always do. So one way or another, somebody's going to have to deal with you. I hope it's not me. But always a pleasure, bro. And keep up the good work. Nothing but love to you and your fam. And have a good rest of your day, man.
Yes, for sure. Have a good night, guys. I'm going to go take the kids to the beach and eat some ice cream.
Oh, do it.
I mean,
have fun, man.
Get some else.
No, there you go.
He did the monster mash.